That's better. About to start the forge though, dude. I already threw your bone for you. You should be satiated. Spark up the fire. The fire, the fire, the fire. Oh no, the fire. Oh shit. Hello to the one person that's in here. Right now I've just turned the forge on. I'm just letting it get up to temperature. It's just barely started, just like the stream. So we're getting our fire going and heating up our piece of steel. And we're gonna forge at least one more sword blade today. I've got 10 pieces of material that I was planning on using for these blades. So I made a snake tongue saber sword blade. That was the first one. The second one I made was this big old bastard sword blade. Then I made a nice sleek little long sword blade after that yesterday. Then an arming sword blade yesterday. And then the last one I made yesterday was a Kopess saber hybrid. Kind of a choppy boy. So today we're gonna make something a little different, as I tend to do. Well, the first thing I'm gonna do is, good afternoon, matey. How you doing, man? It's good to see you back. I was just going over some of the other weapons that I was doing. Hello, Istanbul, Turkey. Hello. Hello, Ibrian Akil. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I apologize, my friend. But hello. How you doing? So this first one, I'm going to go for kind of a fatter, shorter saber. Probably only going to use half this piece of material for this one. My hammer arm's pretty tired. Making 5 sword blades in 2 days, with 2 in the first day, 3 in the second. I'm probably only going to get 1 in today. But we'll kind of just have to wait and see how much juice I've got left in the system, so to speak. Right now, the main focus is getting all the pieces of material I have turned into blade blanks, basically. I'm basically forging them out to the point where I can grind them and one by one take my time with them, making hilts, constructing guards, pommels, handles, as I've discussed before. So it's going to be a long process for sure, but it's going to be really cool because I've done a series where it took me about a week, I think, or 2 weeks to make a 10-knife set, all with resin handles. I want to see how long it takes me to batch out a group of 10 swords, all different types of guards, pommels, blade profiles, all that stuff. This is probably going to be going a series on my channel that's going to be going for a long time. We're going to do all the blade forging live, just to knock it out fast, and then I'm going to make, my normal build videos for the hilts and the guards and the normal testing videos for each one of them, so they can each get their own spotlight. I do need a 2x72. I've got a 4x36 and an angle grinder and a bench grinder that's a stone bench grinder with like a 1/2 inch and an inch stone on it. So, yeah. 2x72 would save me a lot of time. Like, a lot of freaking time. I think that's going to be my next big tool purchase, is going to be a 2x72. Got to invest in it. How you doing, Brogate? Or GTE? So is it your Brogate or is it your Bro GTE? Thank you. Yeah, this is one of my work hats. Be surprised how good these do in the winter and the summer. But is it your Brogate or is it your Bro GTE? Been out here today, and I can already feel that this is going to be a slog today. I'm definitely going to get it a lot hotter today when I'm working it than I did yesterday. I have two, but nowhere the same setup because I don't have any power in my shop. That sucks. You have the available tool, but you don't have the availability to use it. That is rough, my friend. That kind of sucks more than not having the funds to get the tool, because then it's just out of the equation, whereas it's like sitting there mocking you, saying you can't use me, but I would make your life a lot easier. That's messed up. It's mocking you. Yeah, this is, I don't think any of you guys saw the last stream of the day, so this is what I made on the last stream of the day, just a very simple Khopesh saber hybrid. Kind of a short saber that's real broad, with a Khopesh-like curve and tip. Not quite a Khopesh, but very similar to one. This will be a very lightweight little guy, though. Like on the last couple that I've had, my grinder cut wasn't perfect when I cut the bed frame rail out. So I do have to kind of upset part of it a little bit and work that back down, wherever that is. Pronounced your Bro GTE. I don't think I know. Okay. I didn't pay for one, and the other one was a bunch of steel and tools and forge that forge. Nice. So one you got as a gift or as something like that. So you got one for free, and then the other one was with a whole tool haul, kind of like a blacksmith shop sell, like you see on KSL or Facebook Marketplace, where people are like, I'm done, I can't forge anymore, I'm selling all my tools, that kind of thing. At least you got a really good forge out of the deal, too. That's always nice. Upgrading to this bad boy was the best decision I ever made in terms of my production in my shop. Like, I would not have been able to produce 3 swords of this size in that other forge nearly as fast, with nearly as little fuel as it took to make these guys. So it makes me very happy. Damn! So basically you got it for like next to nothing. Comparatively speaking, with everything you got. One moment. So right now, I am very simply just drawing out the tang. What it is? How you doing, man? Nice to see you. Do I have sound today? Can you guys hear today? Like, I don't know what the hell happened on that last stream. Howdy from New York. How you doing, New York? What's up, Tugboat? Right now, kind of a short, broad, curved sword. So in the past 2 days, I've made a big old bastard sword blade. A hand-and-a-half arming sword blade. A one-handed long sword blade. A snake-tongued saber sword blade. And a Kopis saber hybrid. Kind of like a Wargalok almost. And today we're making another short but much broader sword. Cool, yes, we can hear you. It's nice to see you too, brother. I don't know why, but I keep changing. I noticed you changed it again. Is that the same one you had before? Cool, you can hear me. Nice blade. No. Good afternoon. Nice blades. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good afternoon, TK. Or TDK. Yeah, yeah, they're fun. That little hybrid is gonna be a hellacious little cutter because it's so lightweight. Yeah. Yeah, my hammer arm's pretty damn tired today, guys. That was in the past 2 days, those 5 blades. I did 3 of them yesterday and 2 the day before, all on live stream. So if anybody doesn't believe it, they can go watch it happen. But yeah, hand hammered them all out. Hand shaped every single one of them. With nothing but the forge and forge tools. All cutting, all shaping, all splitting was done at the anvil. Yeah. Actually, I didn't purchase bar stock. I purchased old mining town bed frame rail. It's spark tested. It's pretty damn high carbon. And I did some snap testing and quench testing and all that stuff on them. And they are some good steel, all of them. So I'm like, for $30 for 10 pieces, all of them around 3 foot, a little over. Good deal. So taking advantage of it, chopped them right down the center, and I'm forging them out. Like the new big double blades. Hey, how's it going, Super Gaming? Hell yeah. Yeah. Oh, are you talking about the hook swords? The ones I have hanging up in the shop in the background of the thing? Yeah, old school steel. Beautiful. In my opinion, it's the best stuff you can get, but I guess that's just a matter of taste. Like, the new fancier steels are cool and all. They're really good stuff, but they're really, like, not meant for somebody like me to heat treat. They're meant for, like, factory heat treatment production. Whereas old steel like this is perfect for a guy like me who's looking to make good stuff, but wants to be able to heat treat in-house, so to speak. I need to get some material like that. Only good steel I have that would make good swords is leaf spring and railroad track. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have... Let me show you guys. Disconnect this real quick. So right over here, I have some spring steel. Well, by some, I mean quite a bit. So, old Model A leaf spring that I'm waiting to do stuff with. Big old heavy-duty 3500 leaf spring and the leftover leaf spring from a dune buggy. Not to mention the giant pile of coil spring that I also have on the other side over there. Yeah, it was a really good price. The guy treated me really fair. It had been sitting in his yard for God knows how long at an estate sale. Yeah, truck springs. I haven't made anything forge-wise out of lawnmower blades. I've done a stock removal lawnmower blade project, and the heat treat well on it and everything. So I enjoy it. I just don't have lawnmower blades as easily and readily available to me personally as I do materials from cars and construction sites. Spatulas, that's actually a really cool idea. Because you can cut it off on the one side, move it center, flatten out the area. Yeah, that's cool, dude. I like that idea. Yeah. A lot of it's about who you know and what they're gonna scrap. Like getting material from people that are just gonna take it to the dump and making use of it. It's always a great feeling. Because you're saving something from the junk pile, essentially. Giving it a second chance at being something somebody will cherish. Getting there. Getting there. Yeah, dude, that sounds like a video that would take off. I'd definitely be interested in seeing the process. Do you look in Marketplace? Only when I'm running low on certain types of material that I need, because right now I've kind of got an abundance of material to play with. I've got like 6 buckets full of material, just all kinds of different sizes of different things. So yeah, I've got a lot of projects ahead of me. I just wanted to use this stuff as soon as I got it, because the prospect of it being flat bar stock to begin with after I made my cuts was just too tempting to resist. Because as you guys that smith know, it's a lot easier to go from flat bar that's already close to the spine thickness you want to a finished sword blade, forged out wise, than it is to go from like leaf spring that's super thick to something more manageable size wise, I guess. Exactly. Oh, yeah, see, that's what I need to start doing. I need to start looking in wood shops for more wood for my handles. Because I do a lot of wrapped handles, and I've recently discovered a new type of wrapping cover that I can use, that I used on a dagger that I finished recently. The videos on that will be coming out in a month or so. But basically, I found a new type of thing I can use to wrap the guard. And it makes it look, I mean not guard, the handle, and it makes it look much prettier. And it's much more comfortable with the twine. I like smaller trailer leaf springs. Yes, because they're already kind of thinner, they're already a little more uniform. they're a lot less thickness to move, so to speak. Getting close to where I want it to be, so at least in terms of length and thickness. I do need to draw a little more thickness out of certain sections and pretty up one side of that, even though the tank's never going to be seen. Right now it's kind of looking a little bit like an I-beam because it's upsetting from the outside a little more. That's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. I'm not getting any cold shuts, so we should be good there. Yes, actually. This right here, my hot cut that I use in every single video is from an old jackhammer bit. I made this out of the working end of an old jackhammer bit. Yeah, it took me like a couple hours to pound that sucker down to fit in my hole and to make that blade shape. In fact, I have 1, 2... Yeah, I have at least 2, if not 3, full jackhammer bits laying around. Waiting to become more Hardy tools. I love using jackhammer bit for Hardy tools. And if you guys have watched my videos a lot, which I know a lot of you guys have, you'll know I am very much about having more tang than I need when I make a sword, whether it's a one-handed sword, a two-handed sword, or whatever. I'm always very much about having more than I need, because I can always cut it down and grind it down later if I need to make it shorter. But it allows me to have a little bit more wiggle room and a little more room to play with the design as I'm forging. Because I know I said that I want a shorter, broader, curved sword. However, I might change my mind as I go and go for a bigger curved sword. Because I have some shorter, thinner curved swords. I don't have any shorter, broader ones, or any longer, broader ones. So maybe this will become a long, broad saber, or curved sword. We'll just have to see. Better to have too much than not enough, exactly. Just like I had a dude in here a while back, and he was looking at all the hammers and stuff. I think it was Tim. I was looking at all my hammers and tongs. He's like, there's no way. What? Two-handed falchion? So the falchion is curved, but isn't the curve on the falchion more just at that broadened tip? Dusac? I'm gonna have to Google some pictures. I have 4 pieces of stock left. 2 of them are the same size as this one. So yeah, we might make one of each. I kind of wanted to try my hand at a Kriegsmacer, but I don't have enough resin right now to make the handle scales that I want for it. And I know that the Kriegsmacer and the Grossmacer are both scales, not tang handles. They're pin and scale, so that's kind of been a reservation of mine. if I'm remembering correctly, one of my buddies, I think it's Big Iron Forge on TikTok, I think he's making a two-handed falchion or just finished one up. Alrighty, so it begins. Draw out the bevel on one side. And since this is going to be single-edged, not double-edged, I can really take my time with how I go about this. At least my curvature and everything else. And since we're going one-handed with it, we'll knock the stand back even with the spine. Okay. Yeah, his was like 2.5 inch wide and real thin all the way up, and then it broadened up to almost 4 inches with that 3-piece kind of head that they have. Oh, hey everybody. We got a visitor. You coming to inspect? Huh? Time to do your inspection? Yeah. I've seen falchion both ways. I would like to show you something I just finished up. Yeah. Do you have a TikTok? It'd be easier if we could message, or on Facebook even. That way we can message over there, because that way I don't have to give out my email address on stream. Go. Go. Too many fire and too many sparks for you, buddy. Go. Oh, awesome. I'd love to see it. That's cool. Oh. Had to go let my dog back inside. Contest ends the first of the year, so it's not been. Gotcha. It is 2:30. Just turned in your knife photos. Sweet. Wow. You're on the other side of the planet, aren't you? Well, I hope you're having a good night over there. Oh, me? Zach. Or are you talking to random? Yes, it is. Yeah, you can call me Hooker. That's what everybody called me in high school, brother. There were 5 Zachs at the high school I graduated from, and I literally told my friends, stop calling me Zach. I'm not going to answer to it anymore. I'm sick of turning around every time I hear somebody say Zach. Just call me Hooker, and I'll know you're talking to me. Is it Michelle or Michael? Mikhail? Osama from Algeria. Algeria. Is that in Africa or the Middle East? I'm not familiar. I think it's in Africa, but I'm not sure, and I don't want to offend anybody's sensibilities by quoting the wrong country. I'm an American. We're not known for our geographical prowess. I'll tell you what, guys, I really am feeling it from yesterday and the day before. Africa, okay, cool. North Africa. Ah, that's cool. So, like, are you guys close to it? Are you guys closer to, like, Gaza, Jerusalem, Egypt, that kind of area? Or are you closer to the ocean side? This jacket off. Kind of warm. Change my camera angle a little bit, see if that helps you guys be able to see stuff better. Ah, sweet. Is the fishing good there? I myself am quite a fisher person. Quite a fisherman. Quite a hook setter. So, like, do you guys get good fishing out there? Just south of Spain. Okay, cool, yeah. That's what I figured, it was around that area. I just, like I said, I'm not the greatest at guessing locations and such, so. Goddamn, my arm is tired, boys. Like, I'm not, you know, at a loss for hammer arm strength or anything, but, like, goddamn. After 3 days of pounding swords out by hand, this arm is just like, can I rest, please? Can I rest, please? And I'm like, no, pick the damn hammer up and keep swinging it. Fire! Hot steel, hot steel. That's what we like. Like I said, said, I'm going to be letting the steel get nice and hot today. Typically I'll do it at a little bit of a lower heat than what I'm going to do today. But with how tired my arm is, I'm gonna keep more heat in it. Just work smarter, not harder. Right? This is gonna be one big son of a gun. You see what I mean? I say I wanted to make a short, broad, curved sword. I still could. If I cut it off now, I could still. Is it high carbon steel? Yes. Not like formally. All of the martial arts I've trained include Taekwondo, which I hold my first on in. I have my first on black belt in Taekwondo, 2 years of boxing, 7 years of Muay Thai, 4 years of Jiu-Jitsu, a couple years in the local MMA circuit. So I didn't formally train. That's what I formally trained. I haven't formally trained any other martial arts, but having an interest in it as I do, and wanting to know as much as I do, I've watched a lot of videos, studied a lot of the movements, tried to practice and replicate some of them, but I may be way off because I haven't had formal instruction in those arts. I can say I've self-trained those specific arts, but the only arts I have formal training in is Taekwondo, boxing, Muay Thai, and Jiu-Jitsu. I think here in just a sec I'm going to cut this down. Yeah, I like Doug Marcaida, a big inspiration when it comes to Filipino martial arts from what I've seen. That dude can take a karambit and he's a nightmare with them. He's a nightmare with most bladed objects. But, I mean, bladesmithing as I do with my... For me, it's not just about the art of making the stuff, you know? For me, it's also about the arts associated with them and the cultures throughout history that use them and why they were designed that way and how they were used specifically with that design. So a lot of it, like when I made the hook sword, it's like I want to know how these things function. They look wild. So a lot of it is me trying to satiate part of my own interest to wield every type of bladed object and historical weapon that existed eventually that I've made myself.
There are many martial arts that say Filipino knife techniques are very practical for weapon-based arts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, if you think about it, the human body can only move so many ways, right? And there are only so many biomechanically viable ways that you can wield a weapon. So that goes to serve that, if you think about it, techniques from one weapon's art can be applied to pretty much every other weapon, for the most part. You have some outliers and small balls, but the principles of leverage, mechanics, all that kind of stuff that are studied with body mechanics and how to recruit power into a strike, how to run a blade versus how to create impact, like those are all skills that are transferable between different weapons and different weapon systems. Okay, boys, I think this is where I cut in a tip. Not cut in a tip, but cut off about half of the leftover material, which will be enough to make another short sword. It'll be broader, maybe a gladius or something. But I'm going to cut it off, shape a tip, and we'll go with a broad, shorter, curved sword. I'm going to try for like a big, broad spread at the top, kind of like a falchion, but we'll see what happens there.
Lynn Thompson is one.
Okay.
Nice meeting you, and God please. And have a nice evening.
You as well. It was great talking to you. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. Oh yeah, this was from Christmas from last year. So one of my family members actually made me this with my logo. My brother-in-law actually made this with my logo. So that's really cool. If you guys see me wearing a black shirt, this is probably the one I'll be wearing. Cold Steel's good. I like Cold Steel. So we'll cut it back about here, which will both give me enough metal for another sword and give me plenty to finish this one. Get it back hot. Lynn's Cold Steel's founder. Cool. Yeah, like even the difference in something like a one-handed light enough to wield longsword, where you have different techniques for binding and winding and cutting than you would with like a hand and a half sword or a two-handed sword, where you're gonna have similar techniques, but they're gonna vary slightly, right? Oh yeah, well that's the thing, like, I feel like for a while, the modern community has kind of scoffed at martial arts that are traditional because they didn't think they were viable because they got brainwashed by watching just boxing and UFC into thinking that, oh, only like boxing and maybe one or two other things is viable. And they forget, a lot of these martial arts were systems that nations would train their people with to go to war. Like, these were about, a lot of them, about killing the enemy. Not about fighting in the sense that we think. Like, yes, about self-defense, but primarily, a lot of them come from war. Which, in my opinion, would make them even more viable. You just wouldn't want to use them, which is why there's the principles of practicing peace and calmness and all these things over everything else. Get some more heat back into that. This is going to be a very short, broad, curved sword. I might actually make it a straight sword with a flared tip instead. We'll just see. We'll see where it takes us.
MMA is all I've ever trained in.
Well, what is MMA aside from mixed martial arts? You're studying jiu-jitsu, you're studying boxing, you're studying kickboxing, you're studying Muay Thai, depending on the gyms you're going to. But most of them study at least boxing and kickboxing and some form of grappling.
Like karate with it. I grew up with karate. And a lot of people say that was a better.
Oh yeah, karate. And it depends on the type, and it depends more on the studio and the instructor than the branch of karate. Because I've known Kempo schools that were trash, and I've known Kempo schools that were really good. It just depends on the instructor and how traditionally they teach the art. been around the block for a few whiles, my friend. Did my first martial arts stuff, started with Taekwondo at 8 years old, and I'm 30 now, so been practicing for 22 years, roughly. Seen a lot come and go, seen a lot of stuff in that time.
Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, I'm way out in Utah. We only have a couple of good gyms out here. Made it more travel to go and do some of the training. That's okay, I didn't mind it. Hey, welcome back, Random. How you doing?
Who it comes to the arts, very professional.
Well, I used to teach Taekwondo. It was, and still is, one of my biggest passions. Combat sports and martial arts is something that I mean, when you start at 8 years old and you do it your whole life, especially when you compete for quite a few years, you get very passionate about the subject, you get very focused on, training regimens. You feel like you're slacking if you don't get some time on the bag every couple days or every day. And it's something that, like, so many people in the modern day misunderstand so much about martial arts and combat sports. And they think they know so much, but they never trained a day in their life, or they trained 1 week and dropped out of the gym because it was too hard, and they think they know everything there is to know. Or they watch so many fights on UFC but never actually done it themselves, so they think they comprehend it because they see it visually, but they don't understand. You can't just, I would have just done this instead. No, you wouldn't. With the adrenaline, with the speed at which it happened, and the decisions that were made to get that man into that position, you would not have changed your mind. You would have done exactly what he did, and you would have been knocked out or choked out just the same.
RBA Katana is there, and the owners teach traditional Japanese arts.
Ooh, that's cool. It's like sword arts. So you're talking like kendo and stuff like that. That's cool. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to straighten out the vast majority of this and give it a subtle curve at the top. And kind of go for something similar to this, but thicker, like this way. Kind of an upsized deal, similar to this. Kind of in between this and a bullshit the best I can with how much mass I have in this material. When I quench these, it'll be in oil, but that's going to be several days from now because I still have to do my rough grind on all these blades. Right now, I'm just batching out a bunch of blades so I can rough grind them all, heat treat them all, and then I can move on to getting hilts, pommels, handles, guards, the whole 9 yards. Basically, I'm in mass production mode at the moment. We'll get a lot of the shape forged in before we do any straightening, though. Mainly because I want to see what I'm working with in terms of my finished profile before I start moving any more material than I have to. That's my wife. How you doing?
Nice sword blade. Put a complex hilt on it like a cutlass.
I'm actually planning on practicing quite a few like baskets or D-guard style, more complex hilts, just because I want to get more artistic. Out of curiosity, how did you guys find the stream? Yeah, I'm curious too. That's a good question.
That curved sword would look great as a Dusak or cutlass shell guard.
Ooh, yeah. Your brother's home? Yes. Do a happy dance, people. He's out of the hospital. He's eating solid food, and he is home. Do a happy dance, people. A happy, happy dance. That is incredible news. Like I said, I'm going to broaden this up considerably as it goes towards the top. But yeah, I think I'm going to go somewhere in the neighborhood of a pirate cutlass with this, like a basket or shell guard, kind of like what you're talking about.
I just wanted to let you know, gotta get back to work.
Okay, go take care of the sick puppies. I love you.
I looked up forging and you came up.
Hey! That's awesome.
Different parts of Asia, they quench in water. I think the blade would be more fragile.
So it depends on what kind of steel. That's the most important factor in that. And the way you quench in water.
Hilt can be made pretty easily because you can make it out of more than one piece and
Welder braze it, yeah. I've been getting into that a lot. That's why I kind of was playing around with these greatsword designs, so I could really kind of stretch my artistic legs a little bit in terms of construction methods. Yeah. Adding salt to a water quench is very helpful. It becomes a brine quench.
What's your advice for someone thinking of getting into forging?
Start simple. Start out real simple. Get you a sledgehammer head, stick it in between a couple of 2x4s, lock it in place, put it in a vise, whatever. Use that as an anvil. Get a little ball peen hammer, start a fire with some coals and a leaf blower or a hair dryer and a tube. Play around with some fire. See what you think. Be safe. Wear your eyeglasses. But that way you're not like huge money investment and you can see if you actually enjoy the process or not. Try starting out with simple stuff like keychain rings, leaves, things you can forge on the face of a sledgehammer. God bless, man. Happy holidays. Good talking to you.
started over making knives this summer, but I think all the stuff I have is under $300.
Yeah, you don't need to invest a fortune to start making stuff. Start off simple, do what you like. Try to sell some of your stuff to supplement some of that cost, and eventually you'll do what I did. I mean, that's how I did this. I started with the cheapest forge I could find on Amazon and a dirt cheap cast iron decorative anvil because it was cheaper. I regret it because I would have rather gone with a little bit more of an expensive anvil because I ended up using a piece of railroad track for a while in between before I could save up for this guy. But yeah, start off simple. Don't waste a bunch of money because a lot of people I see online will get a year into it and sell all their tools, and it's a huge hassle. Find out if it's something you really want to do long term. And it sounds like you do. It sounds like, I'm not talking generally like directly to you. I'm just saying in general, I think more people should ease themselves into it than jump headlong into it. Just because it can get really expensive really fast.
How's it going, Jay Sharp? Doing a giveaway. That's cool. Cool. Check it out, people. Go to TDK Knives and Adventures and check out his giveaway. Go do that. Hello, Jay Sharp. Welcome. Hi, Jay Sharp. It's been a while. AT, how you doing? Hello. Everybody giving greetings. Everybody saying hi. Hanging in there. Same here. I got some good news. My brother-in-law's home from the hospital. So that's good. Just got home today. It's always good news. It's been a long road for him. Awesome, dude. Yeah, absolutely. No worries. There's room at the top for everybody. I believe everybody should support everybody else, man. I do my best to do my part where I can. But with how limited my free time is, it's hard for me to catch everything on everybody's channel, if that makes sense. Now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot better. Hope he gets well. Same here, brother. Same here. TD random.
Waving hello. What type of sword am I making? It's kind of it's sword. It's kind of a sword blade thing. It's a mix of like a falchion, a Dusak, a short curved sword, and kind of like a Wargalock. I don't know, man. With this one, I'm just kind of going with the flow. I didn't really have a blade profile in mind, so I'm just kind of moving the steel until it says it looks good. Like, I have a general idea of what I want in mind, but not a full-fledged profile design, if that makes sense. Yeah, I like that. I think we'll keep that profile. Just refine things a little bit. Get all the bends and wiggles out now. Up a hair here and there. Yeah, I think we'll go with something like that. Like a big old cleaver sword. Heat it back up and refine down here just a little more.
Hey Jay Sharp, I saw that 1022 short you did. Have you ever made a blade for a wheel bearing race? We have, and they're super sharp.
I haven't done a wheel bearing race. I've seen guys do them. I've heard they're about as much of a pain in the ass to move as like a railroad spring clip. And I've done stuff out of railroad spring clip, and it is a big pain in the ass to move. So, yeah, I get it. That was cool though. Yeah. I don't really get bearing races that often. So, haven't really played with them too much. 1022s. 1022s are fun. That was my first rifle. Was a 1022. On my 12th birthday, we went down to Cabela's, which is like a ranch and sporting goods combo store, and picked up two 1022s, one for me and one for my dad. Up my angles here just to make sure everything's consistent. The more consistent I can get everything now, the easier grinding will be later.
What I think about it is it depends on what type of beer it was. PBR or original Coors.
I think I'm gonna bring the flare on the back up just a little more, make it a little thicker, just to give me a little bit more width on the upper portion of the blade. Yeah, I was going for kind of a falchion and I ended up closer to scimitar. So I'm kind of embracing that.
Jack Daniels, Knob Creek, and Cup.
Those are good too. Jameson is good, yeah. I'm not really that picky of a drinker though myself.
Come on in and talking about booze.
Yes, sir. Kurt, I think I've gone insane. Because in the past 2 days, I made this thing, and this thing, and that one, and this this one, and that one, and this one's almost done.
Did you run out of propane?
Yesterday. Then I went and refilled it and made another blade. Yeah, I ran out of it finishing this one. Got more. Came back and made this one. And then I woke up today and said, my arm feels like it's gonna fall off. Better go swing a hammer. Pendleton 20's been aged for 20 years? That must be some smooth shit. Yeah, I figure I might as well, if it's already close enough to Scimitar, I might as well make it as close as I can to Scimitar. How's she looking, boys? Looking somewhat like Scimitar? Kinda, sorta? I think it looks kinda like a Scimitar. Sorta. Not quite a Scimitar, but Scimitar-esque.
Currently, I have a bottle of Redneck Riviera that I like.
Redneck Riviera. Y'all are throwing way too many names out there that I ain't tried yet. Y'all are trying to get me drunk on New Year's, aren't you?
Come make me go to the freaking liquor store and buy a bunch of stuff. Close to 15 years ago.
Stag? What is stag? I've heard of going stag to a party, but I've never heard of stag in terms of alcohol. On your shelf right now. I'm just sitting here talking about drinks. I'll take it. YouTube says, hey, look at all this engagement this guy's getting. I wonder what his channel's about. Alcohol. Y'all crack me up. I love you guys.
Everclear? What? Cherry moonshine, apple, random think stronger than Everclear. Random think. Good Kahlua. Y'all are throwing so many names out there I've never heard of. You know that?
Down so it's nice and smooth. It's getting better. So what do you think, guys? Scimitar? Scimitar-like sword? I think this one's done for now. Yeah. Set that boy aside.
Stronger than ever. Scimitar-esque.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a scimitar, historically speaking, but reminiscent of a scimitar enough to where once I put a guard on there and a pommel on there that are scimitar-esque, it'll kind of tell you what it's supposed to be. Definitely a choppy sword. Like, this thing's not very heavy, but it is super fucking thin as it gets up there. It's got a great distal taper, especially up in that last third.
Looks cool. Thank you. A good recipe for using it in Kahlua.
Thank you. once I get the right furniture on that, that'll be one hell of a little cleaver, guys.
ACP. 9 or 45. I use 9 for carry, 45 for home. I use the Parks 50. It's expensive, but it gets the job done. But I didn't really quench this off. I let it cool down to where it was far below when cooling it would affect the material. So I let it cool down enough outside of the forge to where it wasn't going to hurt it to cool it off the rest of the way, so that way I could handle it, get a feel of what it's like. It's definitely, like I said, going to be a very choppy profile. Quite a thing. Happy with how it turned out, though. And then we can start on this one. First, I'm working down all the area that I overcut, or undercut rather, when I was cutting the frame rail into sections. My cut wasn't perfectly even. Why are you sputtering like that? Do I need to turn you up or something? Or turn you down? Fiddle with you. Okay, so now that I've got that as flat as everything else there, we'll make this into the tank for this one, and then we're going to try and make this into a double-edged short sword. We've already got 6 blades in 3 days. Can we make it 7? Am I going to have the shoulder strength to get 7 swords done in 3 days? Doubtful, but I'm going to try. Death by flames. Yeah, 45s have a lot more energy. I like 9s because I can carry higher volume of ammunition in my firearm. Like with a 45, if you've got 12 rounds, it's heavier, it's bigger, it's harder to conceal because I conceal carry. I don't open carry, I conceal carry everywhere I go. So I like my little 9mm that I can conceal on myself with 13 rounds when I have one in the chamber. So you figure 12 round magazine double stack with plus P plus hollow points. If I can't defend whatever I'm trying to defend, even if it's 2 attackers with that many rounds, I'm doing something very wrong. You can't stop a bad guy with 13 rounds. You shouldn't have a firearm in your hands. .460 Magnum or 500 Magnum if you really piss me off. I like single actions. I forgot how much more time you can get off of a piece by lifting it in between strikes. For revolvers, I prefer single action. 357 mag is really good for stopping power. That's for damn sure.
That's hilarious. So for home defense, I've got an AR, a 45, a 12 gauge, and a backup 9mm carbine. Maybe a little bit excessive, but hey, I mean, and those are just mine. That's not including my father. That's not including my wife, because my wife also has 12 gauge, buckshot, 9mm handgun, all kinds of fun stuff. 357 SIG. Ooh. You get more rounds, but you get more jams. What about 4570? Everybody always forgets the classics, man. Damn. Yeah, that's crappy, dude. Here in the States, you can, at least where I am, you can concealed carry a firearm on your person. Do not twist on me, you dick. That's right. You don't twist on me, boy. Yeah, seriously. Oh, that's cool. That's got to be one of the newer ones then. My dad picked up it was a Winchester. I think it was a model 1906 or something like that. But it was a 30-30. That's a sweet shooting old cowboy gun right there. There you go. Also known as your truck gun. You don't want to carry it with you on your person, but if some jackass decides to get dangerous, you have something you can shoot through 5 vehicles to hit him with. Man, my hammer arm is pissed right now. Trying to just stretch it out a little bit. tang is almost tangy enough.
Almost. I wouldn't buy a Marlin unless it was the Cowboy because I definitely want to cast bullets. Definitely buy a Winchester like your dad's.
Yeah, Winchesters are badass, man. When he first got it, we took it completely apart and cleaned every nook and cranny of that sucker, and it was very dirty. Like probably ain't been cleaned in 30 years dirty. But now it's sweet as a whistle. Smooth as butter to crack it back. You gotta figure how smooth one of them guns gets after 100 years of wearing in being shot on that lever.
Micro rifles don't do well with cast bullets.
Yeah, the new ones. They're not the same as they used to be. And I'd imagine cast bullets are more porous, so they're harder. No, less porous. More dense, I should say. I don't know. I've never cast my own rounds before, so I don't know. I don't know anything about that. That is not my field of expertise, so to speak. Now our tank's nice and tangy. Yeah, that should be big enough. Just gonna have to clean up the shoulders next.
Drill or drift into your tank?
So with these sword type tangs, these rat tail style tangs, typically what I'll do is I'll weld a pommel on the end, and then construct the handle after I've welded the pommel and gotten the guard in place. I'll construct the handle in between the two, or I'll drift through the pommel and rivet and weld the tang to the back end of the pommel. If I don't do that, soon I'm going to be threading them. But if it's a scale handle, like on a knife, then I drift. I punch and drift my holes. I don't drill them for my pins.
Petrol and diesel trucks. Petrol or diesel trucks.
Diesel. I'm back, phone died.
Charge it now, young man. I make all kinds of bullets, mostly pistol, but if my cool.
Yeah, so now I'm just going to clean up the shoulder that leads to my tank on both sides. Just because I kind of caught it on the corner of my ankle a little bit. When you're making a tank on a sword, you want a nice tapered transition. You don't want it square and sharp, right? Square and sharp, you're inducing a lot of stress at that point where it comes down. If it's curved, it's a lot stronger, especially under higher pressures.
the best. Cummins diesel are the best in my opinion. Also 2.8 Toyota Hilux.
There you go. It's nice to have all sorts of tools you made yourself, so you can cut off little strands of leather on your vise when it comes off. 12 valve. Okay. 12 valve. Oh my god. I was like, why in the hell would you put a 12-volt battery inside of a truck? For 12 valves, that's a whole other story there, my friend. That's a whole different coin you're flipping right there. VW Jetta. A Volkswagen Jetta diesel? My god, man. You're the type to crave power, are you not?
The diesel costs too much to repair.
It is expensive. Excuse me. It is expensive. But the torque, man, the torque cannot be argued with. And what house do you intend on pulling off of its foundation with that, my good friend? Random, I would say you're correct, but for the fuel, it's free maintenance is key. That's true. That is very true. Definitely the best Ford truck. They do have their fair share of sensor problems. I've heard that the EcoBoost models have a lot of trouble with sensors too.
that's true.
Over long hauls, it's more stable. You're looking to make something for all terrain, aren't you? Like not most terrain, all terrain.
Depends on where you're at. It can vary drastically, changing from 50 miles. I get close to 30 miles a gallon. Or coming through a throttle. My Jetta diesel it's around 50. My Trixie stays above 20 in town, so not horrible. So you don't have a fixed price. No. Yeah, price changes weekly when it comes to the States.
ain't too bad.
same. There you go. That's good. What are you planning on going to Spain, or like, are you going overseas, or what's your plan? I think I'm gonna cut the tip angle in, just so it's less shaping I have to do. Basically what I'm going to do is cut a gladius point in, get a nice triangular point, and stretch that out so that way I get a tighter taper over distance. Make it a nice broad to a nice, not slender, but thinner point. Kind of a broadsword, short sword kind of thing. That would be cool. Central African Republic having the highest prices at approximately 60 per liter translates to hijo de la chingada.
if I moved out of the States. I never thought about moving out of the States. I've always just wanted to see more of my own country. Because I haven't been able to see as much of the States as I would like. So I'm just hoping one of these days I can see more of it. Because it is a beautiful country.
Most Americans are Europeans. That's true.
I have a lot of, not Viking, but Scandinavian. I have a lot of Scandinavian ancestry, a lot of French ancestry, a little bit of German ancestry, and some Roman ancestry. So I'm crispy white. I do have some Native American in me, but it's a very minute amount. Not enough to where I would ever call myself Native. My wife, however, she definitely has a lot of Native in her. She's Latina, and she has all of the Native blood, the many different types. And you notice there's that section there that I failed to cut off earlier. So I'm going to have to draw that down, squeeze it back down, and then draw out my point here.
everything else is wider than white except a little bit of Italian. William Penn. Oh, I know who William Penn is. I'm related to General Hooker from the Civil War. Artist. I listen to a lot of different stuff, so that's actually really hard to pin down. Oh man, it depends on the genre for me. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember learning about William Penn when I was in high school history. Come on! How you doing, Panzer? I ain't seen you back in a while, my friend. Hammer has been happening. A lot of hammer has been happening. 6 sword blades, 3 days, that's number 7. All by hand, brother. All by hand. Hammer. Indeed.
done the 23andMe or genetic stuff. My sister did, so I don't know exact for me, but I know my mom and dad are the same mom and dad as my sister, so we got a good amount of information on the family line going back. No, so these are old bed frame rail, old mine town bed frame rail. They're basically a yard sale / estate sale find that I got really lucky with, and I'm making out a lot of them. They're closer to a spring steel than 1095. They're more of a spring steel, closer to like 5160 in the way they like to be heat treated and all that jazz. All I know is it's a high carbon steel, an old high carbon steel. Yeah, exactly. It's very similar to railroad track steel. It's tough. Pounding out this many blades out of this stuff this fast has actually been very hard on the hammer arm, my friend. Like the hammer arm is tired. The hammer arm wants rest. The hammer arm keeps cramping. But we hammer nonetheless. Because we control the hammer arm does not control us. Right now I'm just lengthening and thinning this upper portion, because we want it nice and wide down here like a chicorella, but we want it to get to a nice longer point so it can be more of a broadsword, kind of one-handed, broader sword blade. Kind of a shorter version of the hand and a half sword, but a little bit more pointy. Yeah, Leaf Springs 5160. Coil spring can be 1095, it can be 5160, it can be a couple of different things depending on the manufacturer and the time it was made. Leaf spring tends to be 5160. The way I look at it is there's so many modern alloys in modern steels that, like, I don't think any one blacksmith could memorize the heat treatment and, like, carbon type and everything for all of them. I think that would be like the dudes that can memorize pi to the 27th digit or something. You know?
don't worry about memorizing it. I just do test pieces. Yep, I do the same thing. I should have known that for some reason. I think so.
Oh, dude, I do it all the time with different ones. So we started off today with a piece like this. And we drew about half of it out into one of these. And now we're using what was left from this to make this short sword Gladius style sword. So we're taking 2 swords out of one piece. Because I've got quite a few swords that are a good pretty long swords, and I haven't made that many shorter ones yet, so we're going to make a bunch of shorter swords. And just because they're short doesn't mean they can't be nice and broad. Yeah, exactly. Like 5160 or 6150. Yeah, they use the good stuff for that. Probably because they could get sued if they didn't. If your suspensions failed and it was found they were using an inferior steel to hold your vehicle up. What I'm using is a little higher carbon than 4140. So basically, I use 4140 for tools and hammers and such. And I mean, 4140 is good stuff. Yeah. So it's just a little higher carbon than 4140. Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, I heat treat it like 5160 and it turns out just fine. So, I haven't had an issue with heat treating it like 5160. So that's probably wise, because it's a little closer to 4140 than 5160, but it is a higher carbon steel. Yeah, I know Lonnie from, oh, what the hell was the name of his forge? He's a master blades. No, he's not a master blades, but he's a bladesmith in the blacksmith guild. He's got, Lonnie Jacobs, he's got some old gun barrels that are wrought iron. And he uses those to make, like, wrought iron with modern carbon steel tomahawks and stuff. It's pretty badass.
gonna get a little more stretch out of it. That'll be cool. That'll be cool. Yeah, I'm getting just a little more stretched out of it, and then I can finish beveling the edges. And once everything's beveled, we should be good to go. I'll have to go back and readjust the tang a little bit because it's kind of got a little bend in it from me holding on to it while I was working because it was still pretty hot. Get some sleep, Random. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Oh, yep, I will see you next time, Random. You get some rest. You get some sleep, brother. It's good talking to you. Interested in. There's a new company making barrels. Installed them. Have you ever watched Stranger Things? I have not watched Stranger Things. I hope the gun barrel install goes well, though. I have not seen Stranger Things, no. Octagon barrels to make pipe tomahawks with a long-term project to make my own flintlock. See, that's actually something I was thinking of doing, is trying to make my own flintlock. I don't want to make the barrel though, because I want to make sure the barrel is done right. Like, I want to get an old barrel and build every other component. want some old octagon barrel. Oh yeah, we already did that. Are you blacksmith full-time or do you have a side job?
I wish I was full-time. I do have a 9-to-5 side job. Right now I've just got a few days off for the holidays, for the new year, so I'm taking advantage of it and making as many blades as I can right now. So that way, as I have time moving forward, I can finish each one of these and not have to worry about what the next project's going to be for a while. I have them lined up, so to speak, and I can just work through those for a while.
I'm going to have to reprofile the barrels. They're not the diameter I would like. Don't know if that's messed up.
Interesting. I have no idea how that would work. I have not begun to look into that yet. Guys, my hammer arm is getting tired. Making 7 swords in 3 days is exhausting on your arm. Oh, frick. Oh, yeah, Mono. This is what we did earlier today. We did this one first. Big old scimitar-inspired cleaving sword. I would imagine that would void the warranty. Yeah. I'm definitely going to have a lot of cleanup work to do on this one when I get done beveling, just to get everything aligned and straight. Make sure my bevels are consistent, because with my hammer arm as tired as it is right now, I can tell you as a fact they're not the most consistent thing in the world at the moment.
I guess. Awesome. So someone asked you to fabricate that design, question mark? Is there a trick to less than pain of hammering?
No, so nobody commissioned me for these. I'm making these for my Etsy store to put them up on my store. These are all going to be designs out of my own mind. If somebody comes up to me with a commission for one of these that I've forged, and we're able to work out a good price for them and everything like that, then yeah, I mean, I might turn one of these into a custom design piece. But right now, they're just my custom designs, just kind of forging out different blade profiles that I like, that I think people would like, ones that I haven't done yet, that I haven't sold on my store yet, or ones that I put up on my store, similar swords, and they sold rather quickly. So ones I think that, you guys like, based off of what people have purchased. Yeah, I've still got 4 pieces left of this stuff after this sword, which is enough to at least get to 11, if not 15 maybe, if I cut them in half and make a bunch of short swords. And I do plan on making at least 2 more short swords. So that'll bring us up to 13. Is that, no, that's 7. So 2 more short swords, that's 9. Maybe if I make 4 short swords, I'll figure it out. I'm putting too many irons in the fire in my head. I just need to focus on the task at hand.
Barrels are over 1 3/4 in diameter, 1 300 Win Mag, and 1 in 6.5 Creedmoor, which might be made to a 264 Winchester Mag or a 26 Nosler.
Wow. That's a lot of work, dude. Do you have somebody that does that for you, or are you doing that yourself? That's a lot of damn work, brother. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of work. Hats off to you.
Hope you get your blades on time before holidays end, man. Best wishes from Mexico. Much respect for your passion for blades. Thank you, mano. Que tenga un buen día, amigo. Bounce off and have an awesome time with your family. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
especially homemade tacos by real Mexicans making real Mexican tacos. The real Mexican tacos made by real Mexican taco making Mexicans is the best type of Mexican taco, my friend.
Happen to have Thompson center barrel or CVA 50 cal black powder. Not sure exactly what I would ask for it, but it could be worth something to go with it. That's cool. It's never been blued or fired. Wow. That's cool. Basically, all you would need to do is forge the components for that.
shoulder just gets so tense when you forge for this long, for this many hours back to back. I cannot imagine how cranky the old blacksmiths back in the day used to be.
After 60 years of forging. Right now I'm just kind of cleaning up my blade profile so it's easier when it comes to grinding. That's better.
One in 66 twist. that's what I'm thinking about doing too, is basically doing like you and AT are talking about, getting a barrel and a stock, and then forging the rest of the parts, or trying to make my own for all the rest of the parts. Be difficult as hell, but be a badass project, man. That one actually went according to plan, unlike the first one. Oh yeah, absolutely. I know I wouldn't be able to get a hold of it for a long time. Like, my budget is nowhere near allowing me to purchase stuff at the moment like that, so AT's got a lot of time to swing on it, and I won't be upset or offended or anything if he gets it. Honestly, if he gets it and he goes through the process of trying to do that first, I can watch the videos he makes on it and I can not screw it up as many times. I'm just going to get a little more length out of this tank because it's just a little bit short for the kind of guard I'll probably put on this. And as broad as this blade looks, it is not tremendously thick, meaning there's not a lot of weight being thrown around with this sword, and a lighter tang that's a little longer isn't going to hurt anything. Rounding up that transition on the corner here.
more length out of it. Yeah, you guys work that out amongst yourselves, however you want to do it. Oh, the hell did I get a ripple right there? That's better. Okay, well my hammer arm is completely dead. But we've got our short one-handed broadsword all finished up. It is, like I said, a single-handed sword. Broad at the base, narrow to the point. Very typical design of double-edged broadsword. That's the second one made out of that same piece as this guy. So we've made us a nice little curved sword and a nice little short straight sword in one day. So that makes 7 swords out of those 10 pieces of steel so far, and I still have 4 pieces of steel left that are big enough to make another big old bastard sword with each. So I can probably get 6 to 12, no, that's way off. 4 to 8 swords out of it, depending on the way I go with it, how big I make them, and all that jazz. So yeah, this one's kind of inspired by a Chiquidea. If you know what a Chiquidea is, it's kind of a similar blade profile to that, but longer. And this one is like a short scimitar, cleaver, cutlass style thing, like a short sword. That is definitely a choppy son of a gun. Big old cleaver blade. But I
think that's gonna do it for this stream, guys.
My hammer arm's about to fall off. I'm tired. I've been doing this for 3 days straight with no stops.
So I think I'm pretty much done at this point.
So yeah,
I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for hanging out with me. And yeah, you have a good one too, AT. You guys have a good one. Have a good one, J Sharp. Have a good one, everybody.